Good evening, everyone. Um, Hello, Stacy. Thank you for coming into the Zoom. I will wait a sec in case anyone else is coming into the Zoom. We're also streaming live on YouTube. I'll actually pop that link in just in case it's helpful. Actually, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Here's that link to the YouTube page. And okay, someone else coming in.
Hello.
Hi, Raylan. How are you? Long
I
time no see.
I know it's been so long. Are you recharged from today?
No, but I will. I will be taking a break after this.
Okay, okay, as you should.
I wanted to, but I ended up, you know. Yeah, so today I had the honor of Raylan and I had the honor of meeting with Senator Mark Kelly and Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who were actually visiting Sandy Springs
Mhm.
in a small business, and we had a conversation. We actually sat down and talked. It was unlike anything I've ever done before, especially in the political space. So um, I think it went well, but it was very stimulating. Like so.
Lots of cameras. Like I wasn't expecting the press to be there.
Same. It was pretty intense. I mean, I knew there might be a camera, right? Politicians like to get,
Right.
but I did not anticipate that. But at any rate, I hope he walked away with an understanding of some of the challenges that we face in our community.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So today I will be providing a general update. So I do not formally have a guest. If you are, so I have three watching on YouTube now. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm gonna do my best to keep an eye on that chat. And I'll also keep an eye on the chat here in Zoom. And feel free to either raise your hand or unmute and say something. The reason we do this as a live stream style podcast is kind of so we can interact if we want to. So I look forward to interacting with you. First on our agenda, let's see if we can hit these topics in an efficient manner. Hold on. Um, I just want to make sure I'm okay. Actually, here's what I'm gonna do. If I'm looking over, it's because I'm working with multiple screens. It's easier that way. But before we get officially started, let me tell you that next tomorrow actually is, and I'll share my screen in just a second. Share. Here we are. All right, guys. You may know that the city of Sandy Springs is in the process of comprehensive planning. So we're planning for the next 10 to 20 years, and we have branded this process the next chapter. It's kind of like if you were around years ago, the next 10. It's our new comprehensive planning exercise, which is supposed to be finalized next year. So we are maybe about a third of the way into the process. Now, where I am right now is on the planthenextchapter.org is our website for all of our comprehensive planning resources and materials, let's take a stroll on this website. Here we have multiple surveys, one for the comprehensive plan, one for the recreation and parks plan, comprehensive plan, which is also happening at the same time. Now, if you look over to the right of the screen, that's what I meant to tell you about. So tomorrow at 6 p.m., guys, we're having our North End second round of public meetings in the North End. And it's going to be at the Sandy Springs Municipal Complex, also known as the Sandy Springs Police Headquarters. Sorry, I wanted to. And that's right on Morgan Falls Road, not terribly far from the Morgan Falls Road, Roswell Road intersection. And I hope to see you there. I'll be there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Looking forward to hearing your feedback. I attended a similar meeting for the South End a couple days ago. It was so fun. The consultants are very, and the consultants and our community development team have been very creative and thoughtful about the experience of the public. And there's a lot of neat activities that extract information from you. Raylan, did you do anything with the yarn? I don't know if you said you did or.
Yes, I did actually. I had put not so much to yarn, but I did put little flags. Remember, I had mentioned that there are no speed limit signs on Roswell Road. And also there's a high school, I think, that has a bus stop there, but there's no sign, no signal, no nothing, so it's not exactly safe. So I did mention that, and I learned that that's GDOT and not Sandy Springs, but they're gonna put
It's
some
right. Yep. And
stakes in there.
that's fine. That's still a part of, yeah, that's it's still gonna make
Mm-hmm.
that feedback is actually very important. Very
Mm-hmm.
important. Um, it being GDOT might make complicated, but that's very important feedback.
Yes.
So guys, I'm showing you the on the website the plan progress. So we are, well, actually, okay, I'm wrong. We are in phase two. So we are approaching the second of three. We are approaching the end of the second of three phases. So we are moving right along. The important thing about this website is as events are created, like for example, the pop-up events, there's still a lot of outreach that's going to happen. As that occurs, events will be posted on this website. And as you can see here, you can sign up with your email to receive updates. And yes, we definitely want to hear from you. Let me stop sharing. All right, so that's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Be there. Look forward to seeing you. August 20th. All right, now let's get into the next juicy topic in the North End, the North River Village redevelopment. Last night, Mayor and Council considered and approved an incentive package for the redevelopment of the North River Village Shopping Center. Let's take a look at the presentation. I'm gonna share my screen again. Hold on, I want to make sure I have it where I want this. Hmm. All right, that's perfect. Okay, I'll share my screen now. All right, you all, this is a presentation. Actually, I can post the link to it. Let me, hold on. Let me do that. Well, okay. Take it out of presentation mode, just so I can put the link to this presentation in the chat here in Zoom. There we go. Yep. You know what I didn't do? See, I'm all over the place. I'm so excited to get to things. I didn't quite welcome you to North End Live. I'm going to do that in a second. Let's talk about this project. So let me go back to where I was. I don't want to, I'm all over the place. So this is the presentation that was provided to us last night. It's a part of a more detailed agenda packet about the partnership that was approved last night between the city and the development team of North River Village Shopping Center. So back in, I want to say December, the Woodfield Development Group, you can look them up. They are actually currently working on a project on Peachtree Dunwoody Road, where Embassy Row is. There's a lot of apartments going up there. Pretty big development. But Woodfield Development brought a plan in. Yeah, they brought a plan in December. Looked sort of like this. It's a mixed use. Now, what they proposed was what you see here in pink, and I think we've looked at it on a another episode of North End Live, but let's go over it again. They had about 20,000 square feet of retail, which you see in pink, and then to the south, they had multifamily housing wrapping a parking deck, and then to the north, which is on the right side, they had about 90 or so. They had about 90 or so townhomes. Now, this is, hold on, this is not, I want to go. It's important to give you a little bit of background on this. Now, all of this is inspired by something that council approved before I was actually on council, which is a set of concept plans for not just the North River Shopping Center, but for three other shopping centers that are in the North End. What you're looking at here on this slide was the concept plan that the city created simply to show the development sector, the private sector, what's possible on some of these sites. Now, this led to a rezoning called this led to the creation of what we call the North End Mixed Use District, created in the development code. It has a set of incentives associated with it. So the objective there was to make it a little easier and a little cheaper to build on these shopping centers. Now, this led to, in 2022, a rezoning. So the owners of the North River Village Shopping Center actually came in for a rezoning in 2022. And I got to be honest, we were very optimistic in 2022 when we approved the rezoning. I mean, we thought we were approving a rezoning and we were going to get a project. They were about to put those shovels in the ground and maybe come ask for some abatements or something. What happened is the project stalled. Market conditions kicked in, those post-COVID market conditions. And essentially, what happened was the shopping center flipped. It changed owners. And so, for about the past 3 or so years, we've had a new group of owners, and this group is finally ready. In fact, if you feel so inclined to drive to the North River Shopping Center, they're already tearing buildings down. So it's already a construction site. They're already demolishing, and they have a demolition permit. But that's a little bit of the history. So this is years of planning, tweaking the development code, working with developers to lay the groundwork for something transformative to occur. Now, let's look at I'm actually going to skip a little bit. Let's look at their site plan currently. So this is the Woodfield Field site plan. It is not officially, I don't think it's officially approved, but this is their proposed site plan. But I do believe staff is still, they're still making some tweaks to this. Let's look at the different colors. It's not entirely different than what I just showed you was originally submitted, but there are a few key changes. One is there's actually some green space. Now, this is where the city takes an interest. So, what you see there colored in red, and I'll show you a slightly better graphic, is going to be, uh, is proposed to be a public park fronting Roswell Road. Now, directly behind that in purple is the 385 apartments and a parking deck. Now, within that parking deck, part of our deal is to have, I want to say 75 spaces, but I'll confirm that in a couple of slides. What you see there in green is not the green space, it's the commercial. So we're looking at about 10,000 square feet of commercial. And then to the right or to on the north side of the site plan, we are looking at 85 townhomes. So here's a slightly better drawing, or maybe a more easily interpretable drawing of the site. Couple of things I want to point out here in this draft. We're looking at the park. What you have here in gray will be playground areas. I'm working with the city, at least advocating myself, and I think a couple of my council members were advocating to have some adaptive play equipment here. So that would be fantastic if we could have a variety or an accessible a play area that's accessible to people with all abilities would be very important. But this is the park, and here we have, a path, and we'll talk a little bit about the Springway Trail in a second. But what you have, I think, right here in this area is a covered pavilion. And the number that I was quoted last night was about 2,000 square feet of a covered pavilion. So not, I was encouraged not to think of it as like a band shell or a stage, but it is in theory a place that could be activated for entertainment. Speaking of activations, staff has been working with the Woodfield Development Group to also be thoughtful about this area here, which you can imagine it being set up to do small festivals with tents and vendors set up here. So this green space is meant to be able to be activated as an event space. And it's really in close proximity to the retail to also support, an experience where you are at a restaurant and, the kids are able to sort of play in the green space while you enjoy a meal out on the patio, which is something you see commonly in new developments. Springway. Those of you who know our trail master plan know that it has always been proposed to have a segment of our Springway trail system developed along Roswell Road, just like uh, right here abutting the property. Sorry, I went back too far. All right, abutting the property. So I confirmed last night that this development will include constructing that segment of the trail system. So we're looking at not your average sidewalk right here for the streetscape. We're looking at 12-foot multi-use paths here. 12 feet multi-use paths. Let's see, is there anything else I want to point out here? Nope. I think we're okay. Let's go. Let's see. So what's proposed? I've already covered this. Not 75 public spaces, 70 public spaces, which could again support public events and also people who might want to hop on our the trail system or go to the park. So we're getting out of this, we're getting the park, which will officially be city owned, city maintained, and we're also getting 70 parking spaces. I'm just thinking of city public parking spaces. So these are some of the numbers. Our team estimates the cost of the park to be somewhere around 6.5 million. The total value of the incentives, we're looking at a 10-year tax abatements for only the apartments. You can't abate the townhomes. So we're only abating the apartments and also we are waiving impact fees and permit fees for this project. So we estimate a value to the developer of about $4.3 million dollars. Now, our economic development leader, former councilman Chris Burnett, did a really good job last night. And I wish I had the video handy, but we had some audio issues, so I don't believe it's posted yet. But he did a really good job of breaking down the economic impact, not just breaking down what the city receives, the economic impact of this project. So we see there that the city is putting in around 4.3 million in abatements and in terms of waiving different fees. But what we get out is a little more than the park. We actually get a contribution to the tax base, a pretty significant one. I can't quite recall the numbers, but it's a pretty big boost to the city considering that this shopping center was not hot, was not incredibly full or incredibly activated, I'll say. It wasn't quite full. It had about six tenants. It was maybe about half occupied in terms of the retail space. Okay. Next steps for this, the Development Authority on August 26th will actually consider the tax abatement. They formally, our Development Authority, and this is pretty common, formally issues bonds for title or tax abatements. And then we're just going to continue designing and formalizing permits and paperwork and getting this project moving. That's that is what's happening. So let me stop sharing for a second. So I'm really excited about this, if you can't tell. It's I just don't think you can overstate how this sort of project does not happen overnight. This sort of project takes years. It has taken years. It is the city's contribution of taxpayer dollars is a reflection of all of the input that we have received, all of the input that we've received from residents over the past, I would say, longer than a decade. This has been talked about. When will we have something in the North End? Well, it looks we are moving forward with something that has the potential to be transformative, especially when you put it in context with all the other improvements that are happening in this area. So I just want to take a moment to appreciate what's happening here, to appreciate Woodfield Development Group for their resources and to appreciate my colleagues for, honoring the promise that this city made to the North End, which is you will be prioritized and we will devote resources to the North as we do in other areas of the city. And I think the city has done a really great job of honoring that. So let's talk about a few other projects. Morgan Falls Dog Park. And if there are any questions, let me know. I don't see anything in the YouTube chat. Hold on, let me see. How are we looking on YouTube? Okay. Looking good on YouTube. And I don't see anything in Zoom. So, okay. Let's talk about the dog park. Dog park renovations are underway. I don't know if anyone frequents Morgan Falls, but you've seen the signage. The dog park is closed and they are moving dirt around. And I think we have about another month left in their work. Should be finished in September if weather permits. What do we have to look forward to in this new dog park? I think I can show you. Let me see if I have it pulled up. Yeah. I'll share the plans with you now. All right. Here are the plans for, let me move this out of the way. Okay. Here are the plans for the Morgan Falls Dog Park, which is currently the city's only public, city-owned dog park. So it's kind of a big deal. It is. Here are the renovations. Let's break this down. So the renovations to the dog park include a dog wash station, new gates, new fencing for both the small and large dog area. Oh, my tongue is tied. And shade structures and agility equipment. And there's also some stormwater improvements that are happening there as well, just to help with drainage. So this is what, I mean, you see images here. Did I mention that we're looking at new benches as well? So it should be a better experience, not just for the pups, but for the owners. I think that the shade structures, I have to say, biggest improvement to me is the dog wash station. So having actual running water and the shade structures. I cannot wait for this. I really can't. Wait for this. So this is going to be, I am looking forward to it. I'm trying to think, yeah, if it finishes up in September, we'll have time to have a ribbon cutting. People will have time to enjoy it before maybe before it gets too cold. Although it doesn't get too cold here. But that's the update on the dog park. Ooh, now let's talk about Fire Station 1. Early August, we had our latest update. For those of you who don't know what I'm referring to, Fire Station 1 is in the process of being replaced. Hold on, I think I want to show you a concept drawing of what it will look like. Fire Station 1, to be clear, services the northernmost part of the city. It is located not in the Panhandle, but it is on Spalding Drive, Spalding and Roberts Drive. It's that fire station. It was built in the early 60s, and so it's in the it's being updated. Here's a just a sketch of what we expect it to look like. All right. Let's talk timeline on this before we get. All right, let's talk about the timeline. So here's what we are looking at in terms of timeline. We are for the construction, we're going to have to move to a temporary fire station. That's going to be on Roswell Road. If you think about next to the pest control headquarters, the Aero Pest Control headquarters, that building, we're actually right now building that out to serve as a temporary fire station. So that should be done by the end of this year. And then once that's done at the start of 2027, we could actually begin construction and demolition of Fire Station 1. We're also we're also building or re we're also building a brand new fire station in the southern part of the city, Fire Station number 4, which is going to be right on Roswell Road. The permanent station will be right there on Roswell Road. So I'm looking forward. I really am looking forward to this. Once the construction starts, I think we're looking at about 18 months. I believe that's what we're looking at, if I recall correctly. So excited about that piece of public safety infrastructure and something that will help reduce call times and keep our ISO rating at 1. That's also great. I don't know if you've been riding up and down Roswell Road, but there's work happening right now at Trowbridge and Roswell Road. And again, these things don't happen by accident. They happen because people speak to their experience and they have elected leadership that advocates for them. So, what's happening at Trowbridge? Well, we are doing some minor updates to that intersection to make it safer, safer for pedestrians and safer for vehicles. So, what you're going to notice is we are simplifying that intersection to remove the islands from the eastern side, from the eastern side. So, the finished result should be a symmetric intersection that is ADA accessible, but it doesn't have that right turn lane from imagining you are traveling westbound on Trowbridge and you want to go from westbound on Trowbridge to northbound on Roswell Road. There used to be sort of the illusion of a protected right lane, and there was a pretty significant accident pattern associated with that. So we are getting rid of that pattern, and hopefully we'll see a reduction in accidents at that intersection. And we're also doing some signal upgrades. You also may have noticed that the mid-block crossing at the North Fulton Service Center is officially operational. I wish I had like a clap sound effect. I'm going to work on that for our next meeting, but that's a big deal. You can cross Roswell Road, no issues. You can cross. It's important. All right. I also had a conversation or a short exchange with the Georgia Department of Transportation, and sometime in the next month or so, they are going to we are going to get together and they're going to update me on the status of the bridge replacement. You'll recall a few months ago, I think back in March, we talked to them publicly. We had a public conversation with them, and they are set to begin the bridge replacement, Roswell Road over the Chattahoochee River, connecting the city of Sandy Springs to the city of Roswell. That bridge, talk about things taking forever. That is something that has been in conversation. Upgrading that bridge so that pedestrians can actually get across has something that's been in conversation for years, and we'll talk about it and then it'll stall. We'll talk about it, then it'll stall. There were a lot of stakeholders, but I think everyone's aligned at this point, and we're gonna get that over the finish line sometime in the next few years. Now, I want to talk about one of the surprises of my week. I gotta be honest. Sometimes staff surprises me. So for probably the last 8 months, there have been a lot of ideas being thrown out. I remember at retreat and even during the election cycle, we were tossing out this idea of, in addition to redeveloping in the North End, is there a way to just do placemaking, to just activate spaces? And so earlier this week, staff came up with this. Let me share. Introducing, drum roll please, the Sandy Springs Night Market event series. So we are looking at several dates. I will scroll down and get those dates to you. But the idea is that from 5 to 8 on Thursdays, so we're not doing Fridays or Saturdays, don't want to conflict with the farmers market and other events that we have going on. So we're looking at Thursday, September, October, November. We're going to have a night market with vendors and entertainment and food and fun and community. And guess where it's going to be? Y'all see this? Hold on. I gotta zoom in on this. The River Springs Shopping Center. All right, so let me help paint this picture for you. River Springs Shopping Center is where Sandy Springs Diner is located, for those of you who frequent there. It's where the new Crave Bistro is. There's also a Waffle House there. There's a Dollar Tree and a whole host of other business. Orbit Art School. My daughter went there when she was younger. Is also located at the River Springs Shopping Center. This is exciting. So this is an example of taking a shopping center that's doing okay. All right, it's doing okay. It's leased up. There's businesses. Some of those businesses are doing better than others, but it's taking that shopping center, taking that space, and adding value to it in a way that doesn't necessarily involve a full-blown redevelopment and repurposing. The city is just going to activate it a few nights out of the year. And it gives everyone, but it gives families in the North End an opportunity to not have to go too far for that market experience, for that community event experience. So I cannot tell you how excited I am about this. We don't have our vendors yet, so I dare say if you're interested, maybe reach out to me. I can pass your information along. Or if you have a connection at the city, go for it. So it's a free event. I'm just looking at this sort of frequently asked questions list. Uh, so it's a free event. It's rain or shine. Oh, I see now. So we're using our farmers market vendor infrastructure to secure vendors for this. So if you're interested, that's the link. My apologies. And look at the branding. I really like the color combination there. I don't know, guys. I am excited about this. So let's see. What are the actual dates? I want to just I know first Thursday, but let's be more specific. I think September 3rd. Hold on. Let's look at the exact dates. Oh, okay. So it doesn't say, okay. Well, I think on social media it does say the exact dates, but is it here yet? Okay, not quite. Yep, so we are looking at September 3rd is going to be the first event. I want to see everybody out. River Springs Shopping Center. There's a lot going on in the North End. I'll tell you that. There's a lot happening in the North End. Okay. Next topic. Let me see. I'm excited to start up the start of 2027. We will also launch our facade improvement program, which supports small businesses along Roswell Road to upgrade their look. I'm bringing that up because I am confident that there will be several North End businesses along Roswell Road that can benefit from this incentive. And in turn, we will see another set or another type of improvement. Okay. Lastly, and I'm not going to go into too much detail with this one. Our housing needs assessment has been drafted and it has been shared with City Council. In the next couple of weeks, I dare say by our next meeting, you will we'll have a public work session. And so the document will be posted publicly where we in our document repository. But for now, let me share a link. I think this link will allow you to view it. Let me pop a link in the chat. All right, so that's a link that should allow you to view the housing needs assessment. Let's do a little bit of history on this though. So back in 2020, the city council, the then city council, I was not a part of city council then, approved. Oh, Sherwin, look at you. I just saw your comment in YouTube. Okay. Back in 2020, the city commissioned a third-party consultant to compile data related to housing. The objective is simple, it's to inform policy. So we know what happened in 2020. The city thought, okay, now we're 6 years out from that data collection exercise. The city thought it was smart before we get, while we are in the comprehensive planning posture and talking about housing, city thought, and city leadership, myself included, thought that it was a good idea to go ahead and do an update to our housing needs assessment so that we have fresh information going into our comprehensive planning and the results that may come from that. So allow me to, it's a 97-page document, which isn't huge, but I haven't sunk my teeth into all of it. I'm gonna show you a couple parts of it though. To me, it's pretty easy to digest it as well because sometimes I'm challenged with these with these studies. Sometimes these things go over my head a little bit. So this presentation and the way the data was communicated, this was well done. So kudos to, I think HRNA, they did the one in 2020, so we went with them to do the update. All right, table of contents. I'm trying to think of where I want to go. There is well, hey, let's go down here. Well, actually, no. I want to go to increasing demand. I'm going to go to the executive summary for a second. Okay. Let's go through the executive summary for just a second. Now, you all see that number 12%. We have experienced in the past 4 years, I think much of this data in this particular document spans the years 2020 to 2024, I believe. I'll confirm that in a second. But we experienced double-digit job growth. Double digit. That's an important number. Okay. A lot of this is things we already know. We are losing rental affordability. We have persistent cost burden. So here's another nugget I'll give you. According to this information, currently around 45% of the individuals that rent are what you would say is cost burdened. And that's, as it says here, that means you are paying more than 30% of your net income on rent for housing. You were spending more than that part of your income. Again, I'm not sure I didn't know that, but that's now we can put a number with it. And in case you're wondering, we are half and half. So in terms of population, we have 50% of our population rents, 50% own. Just putting that out there. But there's something I wanted to look at some of the labor data. This is all great information, by the way. I just want to look at some of the data, the labor data. There's something I want to show you. Oh, let's look at this. We talked about cost burden. When you break out the 45% of individuals that are cost burdened, look at what emerges. Okay. Some demographic groups have a higher rate of cost burden than other demographic groups. So three groups stand out here: senior household. 74% of all senior renting households are cost burdened. Seniors. That actually, speaking of things I knew and didn't know, I did not know that. Single parent households, you expect it. You expect it. That makes sense. And then 62% of Hispanic Latino renter households. 62%. Oh, yeah, 62% are cost burdened. And that was just I that was sh shocking. Um and you could see also Black households 50% and others. So yeah, that's pretty serious. I It's just interesting information. I yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Okay, now we're getting into the labor. I think we're getting into the labor data because there's something else. Oh, let's look at this. All right, remember how we said 12% job growth? All right, let's break that down. Okay, we saw most of that job growth happened in two sections. The earners, which are those making over $90,000 a year, and the moderate earners. The biggest increase came from the moderate earners. So when you look at the total employment numbers, you can see that of all the people who work here in Sandy Springs, the majority, over half. So I think this is somewhere around 60 or so percent. I have the number here. Hmm, let me pull up my notes. Okay. I'm just trying to get the data. Okay. I'm sorry, 54%. It's not 60%. 54% of the jobs that are in Sandy Springs support that moderate income bracket. Just putting that out there. And we don't have a lot of, apparently the sector with the least amount of jobs in Sandy Springs and has seen the least amount of growth is the sector with um, the lowest wage category, if you will. Okay. Oh, this is the slide I wanted to get to. Check this out. So according to the housing needs assessment, only 4% of people working in Sandy Springs live in Sandy Springs. I have no idea why that blows me away. So what we're saying is 96% of the people employed in Sandy Springs um go somewhere else to live. I just I just thought that number was higher. I just did. I thought it was higher. That was a big takeaway for me. I mean, that was something. That shocked me. It really did. All right. Now what I'm gonna do, we're on page 21. I'm gonna flip all the way. Again, do your deep dive. I put the link here. I can put it in the YouTube chat as well. Matter of fact, let me put it in the YouTube chat. Give me a second. All right, gonna throw the housing needs assessment in the YouTube chat. Actually, don't know exactly how that works, but it's there in case you are on YouTube. Maybe you can click it, or maybe you're able to copy and paste it. Okay. All right, I'm going to skip to page 76. I like page 76. It's pretty much at the end of the report, but it is oh, here we go. It's the council, it's the council district profile. It's the council district profile. You know what I'd love to do with this section? I would love to play a game of, guess which district. That would be fun. I might do that at some point. All right, so let's take a peek. All right, so here we look at each council district, and I think it's important only just so we have a better understanding of what if there are any glaring needs in our districts. Otherwise, I suppose district lines are a bit arbitrary, so I don't want us to focus too much on this, but it's still interesting. Okay. So here's District 2. I'm going to skip the other districts. I'm going to focus on the best district. All right. This is District 2. District 2 represents about, okay, 17% of the population. Okay. So we have 17% of the population. We also have 17%, or no, 18% of Sandy Springs renters. Okay, hold on. I want you to hear that one more time. We're 17% of the population, which makes sense if we break the population into six. It's properly apportioned. And we're also that amount of renters, of all the city's renters. Why am I making a big deal out of that? I'm making a big deal out of that is because I think we this district gets a bad rap sometimes for being disproportionately one way or another, and it's not. It's what this data is going to show you is District 2 is actually very balanced. It's a very representative sample of the city in a lot of ways. 16% of homeowners and 19% of cost burdened households. So what I can appreciate about these numbers, guys, is they're all very close to one another. We have a pretty much we have 17% of the population in District 2, and guess what? We have around 17% of everything else. We have 17% renters, around, well, 18%. We have around that number of homeowners, and we have around that much of cost burden households. So I thought that was um really telling. Really telling. Let me see what else is here. So the city of Sandy Springs is 50% owner occupied. District 2 is 47. Okay, just once again, just to show you, this district is pretty much on par with the city. It's not some, demographic special case. It's just a very representative slice of this city statistically. Before I leave this slide, I definitely want you to see that the average typical home price, the average home value is now $646,000. That reminds me of another page I want to show you. So the average home value is 646,000 across the city. In District 2, it's a little lower. In Districts 1 and 2, actually. All right. And so you see something similar in District 3, in District 3 as well. So if you look at the districts, District 5 has a somewhat higher proportion of renters. But we're all pretty much on par with one another. You'll notice that in District 6, it's the opposite, where you have a higher proportion of homeowners. But there is something else I want to show you. Let me see if I can search and find. Oh man, I'm gonna see if I can find it. Give me one sec. Yeah, this is it, I think. Building age. This is when they get into a lot of the multifamily. This is it, the gaps. Yeah. Okay, rent burden. We talked about this part. Okay. Already, not the case study. So there's this really interesting gap. This probably is it. Nope. Here we go. Is that it? No, that's not it. Okay. Okay, so that's the rental inventory. Maybe it's in the homeowner section. Give me one sec. Sorry guys for popping all over. This is the one. All right, home ownership access. This is interesting. Home ownership access. Okay. 50% of this community rents. We've already established that. But guess what? The average renter, all right, if you look at the numbers, the average renter in Sandy Springs by income can afford, or based on their rent, can afford a house that is roughly $335,000. Right? That is the home price, the affordable, maximum affordable home price for the average renter. Okay? 335,000. The average home price in Sandy Springs is 600 is I don't know, 660,000. I just know 646,000. We just talked about it. All right, that's a $300,000 gap. Like between so again, I'm not entirely sure it's something I didn't know, but it's an interesting story. What it does is it provides us with metrics we can look at to see how economically mobile people who live in Sandy Springs are. And what this information says is if you rent in Sandy Springs, and we all know this, you are not buying. That is very rare. You're going somewhere else to buy. But I submit to you that there is a cost for that. There is a trade-off you make when when your community has home ownership access so far away from the actual incomes of people who live here. It impacts the quality of your schools, the quality of your community. I can tell you that for sure. All right, so I'll stop there. But feel free to dig in to the housing needs assessment. Now, guess what I'm going to do because I'm backwards like this? I'm going to welcome you to North End Live. I am Councilwoman Melody Kelly. I represent District 2 in the city of Sandy Springs. If I do not know you, now we know each other. We are now friends. What I try to do every month or so when I have the bandwidth is I'm trying to launch a live streamed kind of podcast style live show, virtual town hall, if you will, that provides an opportunity for constituents and folks that are interested in this area, affectionately called the North End, to engage, interact, learn information, exchange information, influence policy. We can do a lot of things. We can do a lot of things. This is episode 5. So, what does that mean? That means if you go to that YouTube link that I put in the chat earlier, you can actually watch the other 4 episodes. And I'm telling you, they've been pretty good. Most of the time, it's not just me running my mouth. Most of the time, I try to have at least 1 or 2 guests who know things. So you don't have to listen to me ramble. But I thought that this, because we have so many projects either underway or about to become or about to get underway or are at a point of completion in the North, that it's just important to talk about it. One thing I did not mention, and I don't know how much I want to talk about it, is trail segment 2C. I actually think that our trail system deserves its own special Town hall. Hold on, I just got a text. I'm gonna check this. Uh-oh. So what was that? Oh, right. Um, Trail segment 2C. I feel like that deserves its own segment, but I just want to note that the Trail Master Plan, as it relates to North End, is something that we still need to discuss. And we, the city and other stakeholders that are proponents for this trail system, we need to get out here in these neighborhoods and in this community, and we need to inform people and solicit feedback about the trail. Because what happens often is you create a plan, you go through this massive, massive process to create a plan, and then you nothing happens for a while. I mean, you spend years in the dark. That plan just collects dust on a shelf, and then all of a sudden there's traction. And what happens is people like me, city council, people who are very hyper informed about the community, we all know what the plan is. So when we see these trail projects under construction, we know what the overall vision is. But the average person does not. And so, what I want to submit to the listening public, especially those of you who consider yourselves to be trail and green space advocates, is we need to dust off that trail master plan, and we need to get back out here in the community, specifically the North End, because that's where there's a lot of focus on building the trail, and we need to start talking to people again about it. We need to re-inform them again about it. The trail master plan was approved, I believe, in 2019. That's how old it is. It is time to get back out in the community and talk about it. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. But I'm going to circle back to that. I really am. Okay. The last topic I have. Trail.com, Gmail. Let's see if I can get in my Gmail real quick. So at the Fulton County Commission level, we actually, District 2 is District 2 for Fulton County. And our commissioner, there we go. Our commissioner in Fulton County is a local elected leader by the name of Bob Ellis. If you don't know him, I find that he's fairly accessible. You should definitely get with him. Our last North End Live episode talked all about Fulton County and what they do for us, and he is our advocate or one of our advocates in Fulton County. So you should definitely develop that relationship. But he sent out a newsletter that I just want us to see. He did. He sent out a newsletter. Hold on. Yeah, I'll go with this. Okay. He sent out a newsletter titled, and he did this a couple days ago. I requested a link for folks who want to sign up for his newsletter. I haven't received a response yet, so when I do, I'll be sure to embed that in my newsletter so you can sign up for both. But making sense of your 2026 tax bill. And it's cute. This little subtitle here: the good, the confusing, and the unacceptable. So there's been a lot of drama lately with tax bills. And what I want to take a moment to acknowledge is that for those of you who are homeowners and pay your taxes directly to the county, to the tax assessor's office, you received the bill. You received the bill, and as Bob states here, it likely raised questions. So I just want to go through this email for people who don't receive Commissioner Ellis's email, just to see, just to make sure you have some of these questions answered. Okay. So there's quite a bit of tax relief that went into effect, and it likely lowered your tax bill. And what we want you to understand is if you have a lower tax bill, that's officially your tax bill. Like you do not, as some people are concerned that because the digest hasn't been officially approved, that this tax bill is going to all of a sudden go up, and it will not. So. So these reliefs are okay at the state level. We have the Georgia homeowner tax relief grant. So that's something from the governor. Then I think we all know because this was on a referendum, if I'm not mistaken, the Fulton County School senior exemption. So if you are of a certain age, my understanding is that you automatically are receiving an exemption. And what it looks like, depending on your age, is a reduction in the assessed value. Um, And get this, there's no income requirement. So it's across the board, just lowering, attempting to lower, to give homeowners, to give people who live in these communities some breathing room, residents, some breathing room. All right. Okay, hold on. I wanted to, okay. And right, okay. And so what he's saying here is if your bill looks too good to be true, it's not. It's your bill, okay? It is your bill. It just has, you just have had quite a few exemptions applied, and you don't have to worry about it being taken back, okay? All right. So the reason that the bill says the word temporary, this is the part that confuses people. The reason that it says temporary is because the tax assessor's office has not formally um, approved the tax digest and submitted it to the Georgia Department of Revenue, if that makes sense. So the tax assessors submit the tax assessor's office, and the Fulton County tax assessor, last I checked, is the highest paid elected official in in Georgia, I believe, last time I checked. Anyway, our tax assessor's office has not yet submitted the tax digest officially to Georgia Department of Revenue. And so what that means is that a court actually allowed for us, and it's explained here, a superior court judge actually allowed for a temporary collection order so that we could issue bills. But these are the bills. But the reason it says temporary is because the tax assessor's office has not done that critical step. And what that means is that cities like the city of Sandy Springs cannot officially adopt a millage rate. That's what it means. So your tax bill will use 2025 millage rates. This is an important piece. Okay, so what does this mean? Could you get hit with a surprise second bill? I can tell you for the Sandy Springs part, you should be fine because anybody who knows anything about Sandy Springs and millage rates is that we adopt the same millage rate every year. We do. So the only cases really that will trigger a surprise second bill once the digest is formally sent and accepted by the Department of Revenue are cases where a taxing entity changes their millage rate. And just I love these bullet points. If that taxing entity or jurisdiction raises its millage rate, you'll receive another bill. If a taxing entity lowers its millage rate, you'll get a refund. And in a situation like Sandy Springs, you're just gonna, again, you I am very confident that we are gonna keep our millage at 4.731 because we are capped by charter. So we definitely won't be increasing. And I don't think we'll roll back, but we could. A rollback could happen. Anything could happen. We could roll back. All right. So that is okay. Yeah. The rest of that isn't quite. Oh, no, that's not right. Okay. Done sharing. I don't know. Have I covered everything you all want to talk about? I'm going to look one more time at my agenda. Tax bill. I wanted to talk about vape ordinances, but I don't want to talk about it right now. We have time. We have time to discuss vaping ordinances. We have time to do that. Um, Dunwoody just approved their vaping. They just tightened their vaping regulations, and I don't know. We're all looking at Dunwoody now. So I think I think we might have something on the horizon. We'll see in the next few weeks. Okay. Well, that's all I have for you today. We'll talk about trails maybe next time. We'll see. Um, but with that, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and maybe share. And other than that, I will see you at the next North End Live. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great